Corky here. I'm back. I'm talking about the guitar and social music. So we put the guitar in its place. We're not trying to be a rock and roll star, but we love to play, and we are looking for opportunities to share the music with others. All right, obviously, the most well known and traditional ways to do that is either by playing dances with a band, or coffee houses, which have done quite a bit of that. Restaurants, people might ask you to play at a wedding. Uh, and, those are all great. But there are many other places where you might be surprised. Would love to have a guitar player come in, especially someone who could do instrumentally, not draw all attention to themselves, but just kind of be a fixture there. And that takes a lot of pressure off you. If you're not a great singer, like I'm not a great singer, then nobody's expecting a lot out of you. And so there are these other places. If we're looking for ways for music to support others, obviously the music therapy field is growing, still quite young historically. And so if you can find a way to serve, in that case, if there's a music therapist at, say, a hospital, you can help support them. I've done hundreds of programs at nursing homes, veterans groups, disability care centers, schools for autism, dialysis clinics, so forth like that. So, and then probably one of the basic places that we think about is playing in church. We got a small church. There's room for a guitar player, and that's not easy music to play always. So if you can do that and serve in the church. But I also want you to think about moving from the traditional church to the electric church. Now, the electric church was a term coined by Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy's not usually known to be a philosopher. He's mostly known to be a jive talker, but he was a phenomenal pioneer in rock music, and I really like his thoughts on the electric church because it was his belief that after Woodstock, that music really should mostly never be played anywhere but outdoors. And there was a rise because of Woodstock and the festivals, and then, of course, in the Jesus movement, there were many festivals also. But that would include festivals. The electric church would be like playing at rodeos or fairs, and so these are great venues for being able to play. Not that long ago, I was in White Cloud, Kansas, asked to play at a flea market, and they gave me one of those awnings, over me because it was so hot, and so I had a good time for 2 days. I played 8 hours a day for 2 days, all instrumental, never did a vocal tune, and I really enjoyed myself, and it broadened my repertoire of instrumental guitar songs. I did pop, and I did gospel, country, some some old time songs, which when we talk about social music, that's one of the things that's real important is the song selections. Um, and so uh, lots of different venues you can find to play. I was full time 8 years at Life Bridges Incorporated in Cleveland, Tennessee, where I founded a music program there. And it was all about supporting others rather than looking for people to sit and, listen to me and adore my plan or whatever. So, and I had some wonderful experiences there. One of the great experiences was finding out uh, how adults with intellectual disabilities, what kind of music habits they have that they share with each other. And actually, after traveling through South America and North America in disability centers, I've discovered that there's some pretty universal uh, behaviors and preferences in that population. Um, and I'm talking about people with Down syndrome, autism, individuals that have brain injury, things like that. So, not being a music therapist, I'm coming at it from a different way. I want to look for music services. I want to look for ways for the music to serve those people. An example of this is by the time that I went to work at this agency, I'd had a lifetime of guitar playing where if you're in a living room and there's a singer there and they just raise a song, they start singing, and you got to get behind them, that's really tricky. And you got to be really good to be able to do that. And you might hit a note, okay, I think they're there. No, there they are. And so there was a woman there, we'll call her Susie, and she would just strike out singing. And I had to get behind her if I was going to accompany her. And oddly enough, she's an Appalachian woman. She sung most of the time in the key of D. And that was amazing. And after I would get in behind her, even if she was just a little off on the pitch, when I started backing her up, she would slide in to the pitch with the instrument. So that we're looking to meet each other halfway. And so most of the time she was in D. She had a very limited number of songs that she knew. The one that she really loved was Church in the Wildwood, and we would do that one. Come to the church in the wildwood. And so she would do that. And in the doing of that, I was demonstrating, and it was happening, that I was getting behind her. She wasn't getting behind me. I wouldn't walk in the room full of people and say, okay, everybody tune to me. We're going to be in the key of C, and here's the pitch that you're going to do now, because people with limited abilities and mobility are not going to be able to match tones that you have, maybe, and maybe not hear it. And so what you need to do is get behind them and find out where in the world they are. And of course, we have to do this in church a lot in the country churches. We have to get behind. We have some pretty, humorous stories to tell about that and where they go with those songs and how they don't do the turnaround. They just are singing on their own, and we're back there and we have to drop chords and drop beats out to say with them. But that's just a way in which you demonstrate your own humility. Okay, so that's moving from the traditional church to the electric church. We're going to find another place. Rather than the church, which is a subset of the kingdom of God, we're going to move into the kingdom of God, which is this large arena where services can be provided. We can bring the guitar in a relationship to help unite people in the community. Okay, thanks.